Today I'm going to cook a whole different region of barbecue. In fact, I'm starting a whole new series of regional barbecue. And so this is going to be a lot of fun. In the past, what I've been showing you is just kind of different ways that I like to cook different things. And I like to really get into the breakdown of the processes. I'm going to continue to do that. Maybe sometimes to repetitiveness, only because I really want to drive it home, and not everybody watches every video, so they might miss something really important. But to kick it up a little bit this year, it's Memorial Day weekend, the official beginning of barbecue season. So I'm going to start by breaking down the different regional barbecues that there are out there. And today we're going to start out in North Carolina, okay? Specifically, I'm going to be doing Eastern style. In North Carolina, there's two different kinds of main styles of barbecue. And so the eastern part of the state, from central to eastern, is considered Eastern style barbecue. Right. From the center to the west is considered is called Lexington style. So today we're doing Eastern style, and one of the big differences between the two is the sauce. So we're going to start with that. I'll also tell you that typically, or at least traditionally, Eastern style deals with cooking whole hog, where the Lexington style really focuses on the shoulder, so that would be your picnic and your pork butt. So we're not doing a whole hog today, but they are phenomenal in doing ribs in all styles. So today, Eastern style spare ribs, and let's go ahead and get started with the sauce, and I'll show you how the sauce is made. Okay, for my ingredients today, I'm going to be using white vinegar. I've got some red chili flakes, cayenne pepper, we've got some brown sugar. This is some of my staple barbecue rub. I've got kosher salt and black pepper, and that's what we're going to start with now. All right, so I'm going to start with a couple of cups of white vinegar. Now, some people prefer to use apple cider vinegar. Some people prefer to use half and half. I've seen sauces made with mostly white vinegar and a couple of tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Everybody's got their own taste, so you're kind of getting the basics here, but you can adjust these things any way you want to. That's the beautiful thing about barbecue, is you can do things to own it. Everybody's got different taste. So I'm gonna not use the apple cider vinegar. I may add a little bit in at the end. What I basically do is I go ahead and put my ingredients together, and then I start making adjustments to get it where I want it. And I recommend you do the same. You can own it and make it your own. So I'm gonna put about a teaspoon and a half of black pepper in there, and I'm going to put in a couple of teaspoons of kosher salt, a tablespoon and a half of brown sugar, and then we're going to put a little of this chili flake in there. There's one ingredient that I forgot to mention, and that's a vinegar-based hot sauce. So I'll have to grab that and put it in there, but we're going to go ahead and put the chili flakes in. That's about it's a heaping tablespoon, or I'm sorry, a heaping teaspoon. And then we're going to put in, I'm going to do, I think, about a half a teaspoon to start with of cayenne pepper. I like a little more than that in mine, but I'm feeding other people, and I got to kind of take that into consideration. Here in California, we have a lot of spice lovers. People like to have a bite in their food, but cayenne pepper, it's a little rough on some people. So, also to make this my own, I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of my barbecue rub. I'm going to go ahead and mix that together. Okay, and then finally I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use little Frank's Red Hot. You can use whatever vinegar-based hot sauce you want to use, or you can eliminate it. That's the thing, is there's no hard set recipe when it comes to sauce making. I don't care what region you're working in, but this is going to be my base anyway for my Eastern North Carolina barbecue mop. And I'm going to continue to adjust some things to get it the flavor where I want it. I might play with the sugars. This is a high acid mop, and it's really great because it helps to retain moisture, brings a lot of flavor into the cook. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that up, and I'm going to cap this thing, put it in the refrigerator overnight. Okay, so the next thing we're going to put together is a rub, and Eastern North Carolina rub. Boy, I tell you, rubs are like anything in barbecue. Everybody's got their own way of doing it. So again, I'm going to go down to the basics here. You can adjust the levels of ingredients to fit your taste, and I'll just talk about it as we go. So let's go ahead and put this rub together. First thing I'm going to start with is some brown sugar. So I'm going to go ahead and put, I think, a couple of tablespoons of brown sugar in there. And then I'm going to add, as soon as I get it open here, we're going to go ahead and put in about a teaspoon of celery salt. A heaping tablespoon of paprika. We're going to go with about half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Just enough to give a tiny little bit of kick. Not going to hurt. We're not going to hurt anybody. All right. We're going to go with some garlic powder. Just shy of a tablespoon on that, I think. And we'll do some onion powder, about the same amount. Yeah, with these sugars, onion and garlic in there, probably can expect the ribs to be pretty dark in color. But that depends. We're going to be mopping them, so that'll help protect if we stay on top of it. A tablespoon of black pepper, and finally about a half a tablespoon of kosher salt. Okay, so that is our rub. I'm going to move this into a bottle here. Now that'll be about enough to do this ribs with. We'll just shake that up real good. And then I'll take you to the meat, and we'll get that prepped up next. Okay, here I've got a rack of spare ribs. It's laying with the back side up here. And boy, you can see they really did a job on this thing when they cut these ribs out. They really made a mess of it, but that's okay. We're going to do a little trimming on it and make them a little prettier. But here's the thing to know. I'm not going to be doing a standard St. Louis style cut on these things, because in the tradition of our friends in East North Carolina, they're efficient. They do whole hog cooks, and there's not anything that goes away. They cook every part of that pig. And so I'm not going to have a whole lot of cutaway stuff going on here just to honor that tradition of theirs. I will go ahead and remove this membrane, and I'm going to cut this large bone out here at the top, but I'm going to leave a lot of that rib tip on. And some of this real thin flat meat on the outside I'm going to take off, but I'm going to save all that stuff because this time of year is also sausage making time for me, so nothing goes to waste in this kitchen when it comes to these pigs. So I'm going to start right here using my boning knife, and I'm going to run right along the tips of these rib tips and just cut this this bone out right here, and I'll disassemble that for the sausage later. And then this flat meat here, where it's real thin, I'm going to go ahead and take it out, but I'm still going to leave a lot behind of the thicker stuff. And again, this goes into the sausage pile. And then right here on the end, this flap right here, and I think that one little bone is going to come off, and that's all I'm really going to do to it, other than maybe trim a little bit of this fat and take this membrane off. Yeah. Let's see if I can get a hold of that without a paper towel. Can he do it? Yeah, got most of it. Okay. That's pretty much going to do it. Maybe just a little bit of this fat right here. We don't want to lose too much fat because that's good stuff. And again, goes into the sausage making bowl. Yes. All right. All right, there you have it. Now on the front side of these ribs, again, I don't think I'm really going to do much to them. I think we're going to roll with this. So we'll go ahead and take this glove off so we can get the rub on. That'll start with the back side. And there's enough moisture on here, I'm not even going to put a binder on it. I'm just going to give it a nice sprinkle of rub all over, as evenly coated as I can. Nice. And it don't have to be too heavy. Keep in mind, we got that mop we're going to be hitting it with, and that's going to bring a whole bunch of beautiful flavor in with it. Okay, now the front side. Give it a little pat, a little love pat. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to let these babies sit for a little bit, and I'm going to get outside, and it's time to get out there and fire up that pit. All right, so I'll bring you back just about time we're ready to put these ribs on. All right, we got the pit fired up, and we're going to be cooking with hickory today. So we're using hickory logs in the offset vertical cooker. I wish I had a horizontal cooker to do this on, because that's what I prefer to do my ribs on. I just happen to be minus one horizontal cooker right now. We'll have a new one. We'll have a new one coming here in the future. So with this cooker, I didn't, it's been sitting out all winter, and there's some corrosion on the intake vent in the firebox, and it's stuck wide open. So this is going to be a challenging cook. I've got the exhaust vent that I can use to do some temp control with, but I have to be very careful because I don't want to choke back all that smoke and start getting soot built up inside of there. You really do need a good airflow. So I'm going to have to really just manage this fire, move the wood around to keep it at the temperature I want. So originally I was going to try to cook these around 225 degrees. Going to give myself a little bit more room than that. So I've got the thermometer monitoring the internal temp right now. We're running at 267. I'm going to let it regulate, shift things around, see if I can get it to right around 250 for this cook. Up to 275 isn't going to hurt anything, but slower is always a little bit better. And so I'm going to go ahead and try to bring it down so that it has time to really intake some of that smoke. And I don't want to burn those sugars that are in the rub anyway. Good chance this rub, like I said, will come out dark anyway, just because of the garlic and the onion, and possibly because of the sugar. It's okay if it comes out black. We don't want it coming out burnt. So we got our work cut out for us today. Sometimes that's just how it is when you're doing this primitive style barbecue. Either way, we're going to have some outstanding Eastern style North Carolina ribs today. So we'll go ahead and let this get settled in, and we'll put that meat on pretty quick. Okay, so I've been able to get this pit to settle at about 275 degrees. It's not the end of the world, that's barbecue. So I'll just continue to maintain this firebox and stay on top of it. We're going to go ahead and get these ribs on because it's primed and ready to go. So let's go ahead and put them on. Beautiful. Yeah, these spares have a lot of stuff inside to render out before they get tender. They're not like the baby backs where we can get them done to tender a lot easier. These are going to take a little bit of work, but 275 should be good. We'll let it keep smoking. We're going to check back in about 2 hours, and we'll see how much smoke they've taken in, see what it looks like. So we'll see you back in about 2 hours. Well, we're just over 2 hours in now. Let's open up this booger and take a look now. Ribs are looking pretty good. They got some great color on them. So they're not coming out as dark as I thought they would. I've been able to keep that temperature, believe it or not, down around 250. I just did a little last minute mod. I'm going to close this again, and I'll show you what I did to model. So looking down at the intake vent, I just plugged up 3 of the 4 holes with some foil. This is called improvising. You can see the corrosion there. So yeah, this pit's going to get a little bit of work here in the very near future. But that's, like I said, when you're doing primitive cooking, that's what we do. We improvise the best we can. So that's what I did, and that allowed me to, by adding or removing or plugging these holes up, I can adjust the top vent to get a good airflow. So that's where I'm getting that really good color. And because we're smoking We're actually stick burning today, which is my favorite way to do ribs because the color and stuff comes out nice. I'll show you what it looks like inside the firebox. So that's what's going on there. It's basically just a log burning, and as that log goes away, I'll add another log in. And so this is what they call stick burning. This is my favorite kind of barbecue. All right, so I've got pretty much the color that I want on these things. Maybe a little bit more color, but it's going to continue to get color as we go. But at this point is where I start to worry about the surface of the ribs starting to get dry, and people will wrap them and stuff like that. I've done it, showed you how to do it. I've oil coated them to get the same effect where it brings it more to tender, retains the heat inside and traps the moisture. We're going to be doing a mop with the Eastern North Carolina sauce, and that's what we're going to use to protect these ribs. I'm going to be hitting them about every 20 minutes and just kind of keep that moisture up on top of these things. And we should get a beautiful color on these ribs. I know one thing, they're going to be outstanding tasting ribs when they're done. So we'll go ahead and I'll get set up and we'll get this mop going. Okay, got our mop here, and I'm gonna get it all over this thing. Just cover it all up. Make sure I hit that backside real good. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We've got our mopped. We'll be back in 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, I went in and stuck a probe in the thickest part of the meat on the ribs. I want to see what the internal temperature looks like. And I have an alarm set to go off at 185 internal. That's the lower number you're seeing on this monitor here. The number on the top is the ambient temperature of the inside of the pit. So we're at 168. We're looking to get above 180, and then we'll start checking for tenderness. Alright, let's take a look at these ribs, see what we got here. Nice. Now you see how that bone's nice and wet inside there, but the meat pulls away? That's a perfect texture for a rib. That's what you're looking for. You don't want to see a dry bone because then you've overcooked them. If you do, you want them to be able to come apart easily. Look at that. That's a perfect North Carolina rib right there, buddy. All right, let's get a bite of that rib. And you get all this great pork fat off of those rib tips because we left the rib tips on them. Look how juicy that is. Some of this mop or dipping sauce. Okay, that rib has multiple layers of flavors in it. It's a very savory, it's not a sweet rib like you see in barbecue most of the time. This is super savory. And the vinegar dipping sauce is outstanding on it, complements the pork. It gets sweetness from the fat, the natural fats in the pork. Really, really good stuff. So, you know, thumbs up to you up there on the east side of North Carolina for coming up with this kind of barbecue. You know, this stuff is hundreds of years old. It's tradition up there. very proud of it, and I can totally see why. So I'm going to encourage you to get out there, follow the recipe, do it yourself. You're going to absolutely love it, and you'll impress all your friends when you bring this to the table. Now visit our website, gooutsideandcook.com. All the gear you see me using in the videos you can find there, you can purchase. You're going to help the channel by doing that because we get a little kickback from it. And if you go to the Amazon Marketplace through our link, we get a little kickback from it. That helps fund the channel. I can bring more great videos to you. So until next time, go outside and cook.